Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. This is going to be part 3. I think it's part 3. I've done all these videos today, so I'm kind of getting confused, if that makes sense. I hope you guys get it. But right now, I'm going to be changing the power steering fluid and bleeding the brakes. I don't really need to show you how. Like a lot of newer cars are electric power steering, right? And with this truck, what I've done, I'll just go ahead and turn the camera on and show you right quick. It's kind of dark for whatever reason. I have lots of light on but the hood. But this, can you see, that's the power steering reservoir. And what I did, I'm not going to show you this because it's easy to explain it and you guys don't have to waste 2 minutes watching a video or however many minutes. You can get a turkey baster, you can get, anything that you can get down in here and suck this fluid out. Anything. I used this Mighty Vac, and I've showed this in another video. This one's pneumatic. You can get manual ones if you don't have an air compressor. But how this works, you hook an air compressor up to it, and when the air is blowing through the back, it creates a vacuum. That's the long story short of it. And what I did, that's a liquid vacuum, so you got that. I stuck the liquid vacuum down in here, and I sucked all the old fluid out, right? Well, there's still some left in the lines and the pump and all that stuff. So what you can do is jack up your car. I just jacked up the truck a little bit to where both tires are off of the ground. So both tires are off of the ground right now. And what you do, you just literally turn your wheel to the left, turn it to the right, and you have to have the key in it or else it'll lock the wheel. So you have to turn your key, maybe it's like the first click on some cars, second click on others. But when you do that, it will unlock the wheel, the steering wheel. And so you've already sucked all the fluid out, right? So you turn your wheel with the car off. You need to have the car off. Keep turning it, turn it, it'll fill that reservoir back up. So then you suck the fluid out again and turn it. I mean, I'm talking like 10 times. Left and right 10 times, all the way till it stops. And what that does is instead of the engine being the pump, you are the pump. You're pumping the fluid back up to this reservoir. So once you do that a couple times, suck it out, turn the wheels 10 times. Suck it out again, turn the wheels 10 times. And by the third or fourth time, you should have this thing pretty much empty. Okay, so then what you do, you fill it back up to like the max line. Okay. You leave your car jacked up, you do it again. You just turn it, and when you turn it, when you're trying to fill it back up, you turn it slow. Okay? And what that does, it sucks the fluid in there, and when you turn it the other way, it'll force air out. Okay? And then once you do that, maybe 10 times, check it again. And like I said, you need to go slow. You got to be patient because you don't want air in your pump, or else you'll have issues when you're driving down the road. Your power steering might not work, and you're going to be struggling to turn the tires. You can turn it without the pump, but it's a lot easier with the fluid in there, and you don't want air. But like I said, fill it up, go slow, 10 times, slow to the, and that'll fill everything back up. Then you come in here and check it again, fill it up again to the max level, because it's going to be lower, because you're taking the fluid that you took out, that you put back in, and you're putting it back in the pump and the cylinder and all that. So you do that maybe 3 times and you should be good. You just want to do it, you want to make sure there's no air in there, and you want to make sure everything below the lines and all that are filled with fluid. And like I said, once you drive it a little bit, you may get a little bit more in there. You just want to kind of keep an eye on this for a couple of days of driving to make sure it stays at the max. See, I got it at the max level. Not sure if you can see that. Oh no, all you see is the bright light. There you go. You can see it at the max level. So that's that. Now we'll get to bleeding the brakes. Alright, so we got the Mighty Vac. You can do this with like tubing in a bottle, but you'll have to have someone pump the brakes. You have to have 2 people is what I'm trying to say. Well, this Mighty Vac, or you can go to Harbor Freight or somewhere, Amazon, whatever, and get a brake bleeding kit. And for today, I'm just going to be going over this because I have it and I can show you. Concept's pretty much the same. You're just sucking fluid out and putting fluid in. I have to use a light again. Can you see that valve right there? Can you see? Yes, you can see. That valve right there is your brake fluid bleeder valve. As you can see, I made a mess again. If you watched the previous video, I made a mess because I was doing other stuff, and it's okay because I have cardboard in the floor and didn't get on the concrete. Anyways, so this Mighty Vac, or if you get a brake bleeder kit, whatever, it's all the same, has this adapter. So you put this on the bleeder valve, right? You turn your pump on, or you manually pump it, whatever. And when you do this, you want to make sure your cap right here to your brake fluid reservoir, you want to make sure that cap is off. Okay? So you got your cap off, you got your pump on. And then what you do, where is my wrench? I have a wrench somewhere. There it is. I got this wrench. Your size may vary. In my case, it's a 3/8. So you got your adapter on there, and what you're going to do is while your adapter's on there, while your cap's off, while your pump's on, you're going to crack that valve. Crack it, okay? You'll start seeing fluid flow, and I'll show you this in a minute, but you'll see the fluid flow, and what it's doing is it's sucking fluid from this reservoir through the line, right, into the pump. So, what are you going to do? Well, you want to be at the top watching that reservoir. That's why I like the Mighty Vac, because I can do this stuff alone. If you have two people, or if you have a hand pump, well, if you have the brake bleeding, the manual one, you have to pump it, get your new fluid, fill it up. Pump it, fill it up. And you want to keep doing that till you see new fluid. That means that line going to that brake, it's got clean fluid. Once you see clean fluid coming out, you're good to go. If you're using the bottle method, you Google that, because I'm not going to go through showing you all this stuff, but it's pretty much you get a bottle, drill a hole in the lid, like a Coke bottle or whatever, some kind of water bottle with a lid on it, okay? Drill a hole in it, you get a piece of tubing that fits that brake bleeder valve that I showed you, and you gotta have fluid in it already. You don't want any kind of air. You get air in this, your brake's not gonna work. Just like you get air in your pump, pump's not gonna work. Like I was talking about the power steering a while ago. But you put fluid in the bottle, put your tube down in that fluid. You wanna make sure there's fluid in the line and all that type of stuff. And then you can actually go in and manually pump your brakes. And when you pump your brakes, you'll be forcing the fluid from that reservoir into the bottle. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, Google it. Google it has a lot of answers. Like I said, I'm using the Mighty Vac. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna hook the connector I showed you up, and I'll show you this. I'm gonna hook the connector up to the bleeder valve. I'm gonna have my lid off, gonna turn the vacuum on, gonna crack the valve, and it's gonna start sucking the old fluid out. As it's sucking the old fluid out, I'm gonna be up here at the reservoir pouring clean fluid in. I'm gonna keep doing that till I see clean fluid coming through that Mighty Vac line. Then I'm gonna go down, and it's got a valve on it I can shut off. I'll shut that valve off. I'm gonna close the brake bleeder valve, and I'm done with that one. This brake bleeder, the first one, I kind of tested it because I kind of thought it might be stopped up. I pretty much just got a little nail. I loosened it, you know, maybe like 3 or 4 turns, something like that. Just enough to where it's loose. It was also stuck. Okay, let's start with that. Put the wrench on there, it wouldn't turn, so I got a dead blow hammer and I just tapped it a little bit and it broke it loose. But then it was clogged up because this probably hasn't been done in 15 years. It's been a long time since it's been done right. So I got a little nail, something small that fits in the hole, loosened it 3 or 4 turns, and I pushed the nail in and kind of just in and out like that, just to clean the garbage out of like spider webs and dirt, whatever was in it. Long story short, brake fluid started pouring out. I closed the valve back, and now that one is ready to be bled. Let me show you the process of doing this now that I've kind of explained a couple of different ways to do it. It's pretty cool, pretty quick and easy, not too big of a job. Let's go. So here is my setup. I have this shirt just to keep me from making a mess. Have the funnel sitting right there inside of the top of the brake fluid reservoir. Have my brake fluid ready over there. I have this boot connected. I know you can't really see that too well, but I have the boot connected to the bleeder valve. The bleeder valve is loose. I have that valve right there turned off right now. You can see I've already started sucking the fluid When I connect that air, nothing's going to happen until I turn that valve on. When I turn that valve on, you'll start seeing fluid go. The reason I went ahead and sucked a little so I could show you how dark and dirty looking that is, and it actually really doesn't look that bad, but I wonder if I can show you. Well, you'll see the difference. New brake fluid is almost like watery. It's like water clear. So that does need to be replaced. Let me see if I can get you set up right here where you can see everything. I'm gonna turn you up a little bit so you can see me pouring the water in. And so I'm gonna connect, pouring the water in, pouring the brake fluid in. I'm gonna connect the air, I'm gonna turn that valve on, then I'm gonna keep that level good on the brake fluid reservoir, and then I'm gonna watch that until it turns clear. Guys, it's getting kind of late. I just finished up the brake job. I want to go over a couple things. The reason I didn't record, because I'm probably going through some stuff that you guys probably would not go through doing it on a regular car. I was having problems when I hooked my Modi back up. I was having problems with fluid not coming out. And I was like, what the heck, you know? So I took the bleeder valve completely off and no fluid was coming out. I said, oh my gosh. So that's what was going on with the one I recorded. There was a lot of corrosion in the lines. I went through an entire gallon of brake fluid bleeding these brakes. I'm gonna show you in a second how bad that brake fluid looked. But what was going on is I would loosen it, and let me show you. I got a little nail. See how tiny this nail is? And I'll stick it in there and rotate it around, and huge chunks of rust were coming out of the brake lines or out of the bleeder valve. So what I ended up having to do is take the bleeder valve completely off, stick a nail in there, run it around until fluid was pouring out. And I want to say too, first I cleaned all the bleeder valves, you know, to make sure that that wasn't the issue. But I would take the bleeder valve off, stick the nail in, run it around over and over again. It was rusty. It was filled with rust. But I guarantee the brakes work better now, because the two rear brakes, they didn't even have any fluid. I mean, it was darn near impossible to get fluid to start coming out of these things. You know, truck had no maintenance done to it. Well, it did sit for a while, so I'll leave it up to that. I'll say that it was sitting for so long that, you know, but that brake fluid had chunks of corrosion in it. So when I stuck the nail in, got it flowing out, I'd start, you know, put the Modivac or the brake vacuum on it, and it'd start sucking the fluid, but then it'd stop again. I was like, oh my gosh, not again. I struggled with this for 2 hours or something. It was a long time. Normally with the Modivac, you can do your brakes in 30 minutes or so, so maybe 45 minutes max. But these brake lines are in horrible condition, full of garbage. I think I got all the garbage out, because like I said, I went through an entire gallon. The front two brakes I didn't use too much on, but the two rear brakes, they were awful. I'm gonna show you what this fluid looked like. That's it right there. I was gonna pour it in my container out there, but I figured you guys would like to look at it. Man, there are chunks of garbage all in that thing, corrosion, rust, everything else. But now the fluid coming out of all four was, I mean, it was just about as clear as water. And I still got my setup going on right here. Got the funnel sitting right there. And you can see how clear that fluid is now versus what it was. So I bet the brakes will work better now. I don't even know if the rear brakes are working, to be honest with you, after all that. But at least we know we got it straightened out. It's getting late. I'm gonna finish up the rest of this tomorrow. I still need to do the transmission fluid, and I need to do the differential fluid, and the coolant, the antifreeze. I need to flush it and all that. I'm not looking forward to that, because as bad as the brakes were, I bet that's really bad as well. But it's kind of cool, you know, because I'm getting to teach you guys some stuff. You get to watch me struggle through all this and, you know, see what to do if you have some kind of issue like this. But like I said, tomorrow I'm going to do the coolant, you know, I'm gonna flush it and just get all the garbage out. That might be an interesting video. And as far as the differential and the transmission fluid, I'm waiting on gear oil for the differential, and I'm waiting on a filter for the transmission. But I have the antifreeze right there, so we can do that. And after I do the antifreeze, the antifreeze will probably be a video on its own, so that'll be another part 4, I guess. And then I'll do a part 5 of me cleaning this thing. I know you guys are gonna like that because this thing's filthy, and I'm kind of excited to see how clean I can get it. And like I said, after I get it cleaned up, I'll start on the electrical. The only electrical, like I said, is there's a window that's not working, but I'm not too worried about windows. I need the lights to work. The lights don't work. They work, but not with that switch, if that makes sense. So it's either the switch or a bad wiring in that little area right there. We'll get that figured out. But anyways, guys, hope you guys got something out of it. If I didn't go in detail enough or anything like that, just let me know, and I'll delete this video and make another one. I don't care. I just want you guys to learn something cool. But I hope you guys got something out of it. Like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you in the next one.